Ever wondered about the wildest and most unique pickups from the 70s? These rare trucks push the limits of design and creativity, and you won't believe what made them stand out. These are the 15 strange pickups that you rarely find on the road. Number 15, Chevrolet El Camino, 1970. Let's go back to the year 1970. Picture this. Muscle cars were roaring down the streets. Bell-bottoms were swinging. And in the middle of all that coolness came something totally unexpected. A pickup truck that looked like a car but had the heart of a beast. We're talking about the 1970 Chevrolet El Camino. It was strange, wild, and surprisingly powerful. This half-car, half-truck creature rolled out in around 48,000 units that year. But very few people today know just how rare and weird some of them really were. Have a closer look. Unlike normal trucks, the El Camino had a long bed in the back, but up front, it had the comfort and power of a real muscle car. Some came with big V8 engines, like the huge 454 cubic inch LS5, and even rarer, the monster LS6 that could pump out 450 horsepower. Only about 100 to 150 of those were ever built with that big block engine. That's a seriously rare machine hiding in plain sight. Now, here's the weird part. The El Camino looked like a Chevelle, but it wasn't. It had a different frame underneath, stronger and boxed, like a convertible, not like your everyday car. It even had a secret storage spot behind the front seats called the smuggler's box, though it was hidden under the floor. Some owners added hinges to access it, turning a hidden panel into a sneaky trunk. Keep this rolling. Even the fenders and front bumper were different than the Chevelle, with round parking lights borrowed from the Monte Carlo. The rear had no anti-roll bar, but you could still cruise with style. The SS version brought even more party power, with cool racing stripes and a hood that could breathe through a cowl induction system. To sum it up, the Chevrolet El Camino from 1970 wasn't just a pickup, it was a surprise. A strange mix of truck and muscle car, built for hauling and burning rubber. Whether you were grabbing coffee or hauling engines, it made you smile. Rare, weird, and unforgettable. Number 14, Ford F-100 Ranger, 1970. Some trucks are made to work, others are made to shine. But every once in a while, a truck comes along that does both and still manages to look completely unique. The 1970 Ford F-100 Ranger XLT is that kind of truck. It may not look wild at first glance, but give it a second look. With 337,537 F-100s built that year, you might think they were all the same, not even close. Now here's where it gets strange. This Ranger XLT wears its age like a medal. Its body hasn't been touched by any paint or filler. That's real patina on top of the original Mojave tan and Wimbledon white paint. After 54 years of Florida sun, this truck has turned into a rolling piece of history. Add white 20-inch wheels, and you've got a vintage truck with modern attitude. Next up, the inside story. While the outside stays are old school, the interior has been totally freshened up. Brand new door panels, carpet, headliner, and seat cover bring comfort to this classy cruiser. The color theme? Clean white and soft beige. It even has a floor-mounted B and M shifter, making it feel a little sportier than your average old farm truck. But let's talk power. This beast runs on a mildly built 302 cubic inch V8. It has roller rockers, a mild cam, an electric fuel pump, and glass pack exhausts that end just before the rear tires. When this thing rumbles down the street, everyone hears it. It's connected to a C4 automatic transmission with a new torque converter, making each gear change smooth and easy. Keep it rolling. It's got power steering, power brakes, and factory air conditioning that's almost ready to work again. All it needs is a few parts, and you'll be cruising in cool comfort. Even the stickers and magnets on the body are real, placed there by the owner over 25 years. So what makes it weird? It's the mix. Old paint, new parts, loud engine, smooth ride. It's strange, cool, and totally unforgettable. The 1970 Ford F-100 Ranger XLT proves that weird can also mean wonderful. Number 13, GMC Sprint, 1971. You've probably heard of the Chevrolet El Camino. that car-truck mix that made people do a double take. But did you know GMC had its own version called the Sprint? Most people don't. That's what makes it perfect for this list of the rarest and weirdest pickups from the 1970s you never knew about. Here's the wild part. GMC made the Sprint in the year 1971, and they only built 5,536 units total. That's right. Compared to other trucks, that number is super low. Even more special, only 4,364 were the fancier custom models. And this one, it's a real custom. Moving right along. The Sprint looked like a muscle car with a truck bed. It had smooth lines, a black vinyl roof, gray rocker panels, and even hood stripes. A touch of wood trim on the tailgate gave it a little country style, and dual exhaust pipes with chrome tips hinted that it wasn't just for hauling hay. Next stop, the inside. The interior is a wild mix of green and black. The seat, dash pad, and door panels are green, but the rest, like the wheel and floor mats, are black. It had a Hurst shifter in the center console and simple old-school controls for heat and air. A newer radio and speakers were added later for better sound. Under the hood, things get interesting. This custom Sprint had a 350 cubic inch V8 engine with chrome Edelbrock covers. Power went through a 4-speed manual transmission to a 12-bolt rear axle with 2.73 gears. That setup gave it speed and power, even with its odd shape. Let's look underneath. The body had some rust and paint bubbles, but the frame was solid. The exhaust ran from the headers to the Flowmaster mufflers and out the back. Suspension came from coil springs in the front and a 4-link setup in the rear. So why is it weird? Because it's not really a car, not fully a truck, and not quite like anything else. The 1971 GMC Sprint is one strange classic you'll never forget. Number 12, Chevrolet K5 Blazer, 1972. You probably know about the Ford Bronco or the Jeep CJ, but have you ever heard of the 1972 Chevrolet K5 Blazer being called a pickup truck? It might sound strange, but this weird and wonderful ride was part truck, part SUV, and all adventure. Back in the early 1970s, Chevrolet did something bold. They took a regular full-size truck, chopped it shorter, gave it a removable roof, and called it the K5 Blazer. It was like a truck wearing a beach hat, totally wild. Now, get to this next part. When you bought a K5 in 1972, it didn't even come with a passenger seat unless you paid extra. Want a roof? That also cost more. Everything was optional except the driver's seat. That's right, you could drive off the lot with just a shell, a steering wheel, and 4 wheels. If that's not weird, what is? Let's talk about how rare it was. In the entire year of 1972, Chevrolet built a little over 44,000 K5 Blazers. Sure, that may not sound super rare, but here's the twist. Most of them were made for off-roading and wild adventures, so very few survived in great shape. Finding one today, especially with original parts and clean bodywork, is like spotting a unicorn with mud tires. What made it extra special was how it felt. Big, boxy, and bold. The K5 had a strong V8 engine and chunky tires. You could drive it through snow, sand, mud, or even down a mountain trail. It wasn't meant to be pretty, it was meant to get dirty. Some kids called it a lake truck because it always showed up at campsites packed with coolers, fishing rods, and wild stories. Even back then, car experts didn't fully understand it. It wasn't a regular truck or a full SUV, it was something in between. That weird mix is what made it amazing. The Blazer wasn't flashy, but it got the job done, and then some. So, next time you see a classic truck on the road or in an old photo, take a closer look. You might just spot a rare piece of pickup history. The 1972 Chevrolet K5 Blazer was one strange ride you'll never forget. Number 11, 1972 Chevy C10 Longhorn Pickup. One of the weirdest and rarest pickups from that time was the 1972 Longhorn C10 Chevy pickup. This truck was not just long, it was really long. Chevrolet stretched the frame and bed by 6 full inches. Why? Because people wanted to haul big campers and ranchers in Texas. They needed space for heavy farm gear. That's why they gave it the name Longhorn, just like the famous cattle. Now, here's the truly rare part. Only 3,331 of these were made in that final year. That makes it one of the lowest production pickups in Chevy's whole lineup from the 70s. Most people don't even know this model ever existed. But what made it weird wasn't just the size. It had some very special features you almost never saw in work trucks back then. This one had a powerful 400 cubic inch V8 engine with a 4-barrel carburetor. It came with an automatic transmission, power steering, and even air conditioning from the factory. That's a pretty fancy setup for a truck that was supposed to be out on dusty farms or hauling big trailers. Look at this next part. The paint job was bright yellow and white two-tone. Inside, it had a saddle-colored deluxe bench seat and even wood grain trim on the tailgate and door panels. The floor of the bed? Real wood planks. That's not just cool, it's rare at the collector level. As if that wasn't enough, some Longhorn trucks had a special dual rear-wheel conversion, making it even beefier. It also had dual fuel tanks, which meant it could travel far without stopping. This wasn't just a truck, it was a road trip machine. Most people back then thought trucks were just for hard work, but the Longhorn C10 showed that even a workhorse could be a little wild, stylish, and built for comfort. That makes it one of the weirdest and rarest pickups of the entire decade. Next time you see a really long truck, look twice. It might be a Longhorn hiding in plain sight. Number 10, 1973, International Harvester Scout 2 pickup. Here's one you probably never saw coming. Back in the early 1970s, International Harvester, mostly known for tractors and farm trucks, made something really odd and rare. It was called the 1973 International Harvester Scout 2 pickup. This wasn't your regular pickup truck. It was called a cab top by International and looked like a mix between a small SUV and a mini work truck. Strange? Totally. Cool? Absolutely. Now, here's what made it even weirder. It had a 5-foot bed, not something big like most pickups, but just enough to haul some tools or gear. Even though it was a pickup, it was based on the same body as the Scout SUV. All International had to do was add a short top and a metal wall behind the seats. Boom, you had a tiny truck. Let's talk numbers now. From the year 1973 to 1975, only 3.3% of all Scouts made were this cab top style. That's extremely rare. Out of tens of thousands of Scouts, only a few hundred were made like this. Most people don't even know it existed. Now for the wild part. You could get it with a Jeep engine, a 6-cylinder made by AMC, or go big with International's own V8 engines like the V304 or the V345 with the dual exhaust option. The biggest one gave you up to 157 horsepower. For a small truck, that was a serious punch. It had optional 4-wheel drive, a Dana 44 rear axle, and even choices like limited slip, power brakes, and a single-speed transfer case. Want an 8,000-pound winch? That could be ordered straight from the factory. That's pretty heavy-duty stuff for such a small, funny-looking truck. Inside, the base version had black vinyl, but you could dress it up with bright trim, courtesy lights, and even red or sage-colored seats. Outside, options included chrome mirrors and shiny bumpers, but most of them were sold plain and simple, like farm tools. This truck was part pickup, part SUV, and 100% strange. That's why the Scout 2 pickup is one of the rarest and weirdest pickups you never knew about from the funky world of the 70s. Number 9, Ford Bronco pickup 1978 to 1979. This one might surprise you. In the late 1970s, Ford made a Bronco that acted like a pickup, even though it didn't have the usual open bed. From 1978 to 1979, the Ford Bronco became a full-size, tough-looking machine built on the same base as Ford's F-Series trucks. What made it weird? It had a removable fiberglass roof, turning it into a pickup when taken off. It looked like a mix between an SUV and a truck, which confused some people back then. Let's go back a bit. Ford started designing this strange Bronco way earlier, around 1972. They had all kinds of wild names for the early ideas like Shorthorn, Longhorn, Midhorn, and Widehorn. The one that made it was the Shorthorn, a 2-door with a short wheelbase. It was like a big toy truck built from a shortened 1972 F100. Moving on to the specs, this second-generation Bronco came in 2 engine choices, both V8 only. The smaller one was a 354 cubic inch that made 135 horsepower. The bigger one was a 402 cubic inch that gave you 149 horsepower. That's plenty of muscle for a truck you could pop the top off of. The truck sat on a 104-inch wheelbase. The rear axle was Ford's strong 9-inch, and the front used a Dana 44. With 4 different weight ratings, up to 6,550 pounds, it could carry a lot, even if it didn't look like a normal pickup. There was no 6-cylinder option, just all-out power. Now, here's the part that puts it in the rare and weird category. In 1978, Ford built 77,817 of these big Broncos. The next year, they made 48,274 custom models and 55,764 Ranger XLTs. For just 2 years of production, that makes it a short-lived pickup in disguise. It looked like an SUV, worked like a truck, and let you cruise with the top off. The Ford Bronco pickup from 1978 and 1979 is one of the strangest and coolest pickups you probably never even knew existed. Number 8. Jeep J10 Honcho 1976. This is one of the boldest and weirdest trucks of the 1970s. This one wasn't just a truck, it was a full-on fashion statement. The Jeep J10 Honcho, first sold in the year 1976, looked like someone took a regular pickup and gave it the wildest makeover ever, with loud colors, wild stripes, and decals that screamed for attention. The Honcho wasn't made to blend in. It was made to stand out. Next thing you notice? This wasn't just any Jeep truck. The Honcho was a special edition, only available with a short bed and the rare sport-side step-side body. That means the back of the truck had curvy fenders and a cool, narrow bed, not the usual flat-sided kind. Even weirder, this was part of a Jeep trend, where they added decal packages to make trucks more fun. They had names like Golden Eagle, 10-4, and yes, Honcho. You could even get a CB radio and a Levi's interior, which was like having your jeans turned into car seats. Very few were built. While the exact number of Jeep J10 Honchos made between 1976 and 1983 is not known, we do know that from 1980 to 1983, only 1,264 were made with the sport side body. That's super rare. Most of those didn't survive the tough years of use and weather, so finding a clean Honcho today is like finding buried treasure. Still a real Jeep. Under all the paint and style, the J10 Honcho was built tough. It had 4-wheel drive, a strong frame, and the same spirit that made Jeep famous. It was meant for dirt roads, rocky climbs, and muddy trails, and even though it looked flashy, it was ready to work and play like a true Jeep looking back now. The Jeep J10 Honcho reminds us of a time when truck makers weren't afraid to be wild. They didn't just sell metal and wheels, they sold attitude and adventure. And that makes the Honcho one of the weirdest, rarest, and coolest pickups you probably never even heard of until now. Number 7, 1978 Subaru BRAT. Subaru Brat from the year 1978. It was a Japanese pickup designed to dodge American taxes, sold only in the United States, and packed with the kind of strange ideas that made people look twice. Now, that's weird in the best way. That name stood for Bi-Drive Recreational All-Terrain Transporter, but honestly, it just looked like a tiny space truck. Most people had never seen anything like it before. It was half car, half pickup, and all kinds of weird. Now, here's the twist. In the United States, pickup trucks were hit with a big tax, but Subaru found a clever trick. They added 2 plastic jump seats in the truck bed. That way, it counted as a passenger car instead of a truck. Wild, right? These seats even had seatbelts, and they faced backward. If you rode back there, you were basically flying in the wind. It was fun, weird, and totally unforgettable. Moving along to what made it different. The Brat was based on the Subaru Leone, which was just a small car in Japan, but they turned it into this strange truck-like machine with 4-wheel drive, something you didn't see on tiny pickups at the time. That helped it drive on mud, snow, and dirt with ease. It wasn't big or strong like American trucks, but it had spirit. It was made for fun adventures, not heavy work. Here's a cool number. Over its full run from 1978 to 1987, Subaru built about 120,000 Brats. That sounds like a lot, but most were not saved. They got rusty or wrecked, and today, only a few are left in good shape. So, finding a clean BRAT is really rare. Even cooler, former US President Ronald Reagan owned one. He drove it around his ranch in California. That makes it even more legendary. Last fun fact, the BRAT started a trend. It helped launch the tiny car truck style in America. Other companies followed with their own versions, but the BRAT stayed unique. It was part Jeep, part car, and part science experiment. That's why it stands today as one of the weirdest and rarest pickups from the wild world of the 70s. Number 6, 1974 to 1977, Mazda Rotary, pickup REPU. Now, have a look at the truck that broke all the rules. It didn't sound like a truck, didn't drive like one, and guess what? It wasn't even sold in its home country. This little rebel was the Mazda Rotary pickup, also called the REPU. Built in Japan but sold only in the United States and Canada, it ran from the year 1974 to 1977. That already makes it weird. But wait, it gets way better. First off, here's the wild part. Most trucks have engines with pistons. Not this one. The REPU had a Mazda 13B rotary engine. That means it didn't bounce pistons up and down like most cars. It used spinning rotors instead. This gave it super smooth power and made it feel like a sports car, not a pickup. It even sounded totally different, with a kind of buzzing noise instead of the usual truck rumble. Only about 15,300 of these trucks were ever made. That's a super low number for any vehicle, especially one this unique. Most people at the time didn't know what to do with it. It was fast, light, and fun to drive, but it wasn't a big, tough work truck like the others. So, it didn't catch on with regular drivers. Even today, finding a Mazda REPU in good shape is super rare. Many were used hard and not taken care of. That makes the survivors really valuable to collectors now. So here it is, one of the oddest rides ever made. A small, loud, rotary-powered truck that was ahead of its time and misunderstood by many but totally unforgettable. The Mazda Rotary pickup was not just a truck, it was a strange little legend on 4 wheels. Number 5, 1976, International Harvester Scout 2 Terra. Some trucks just look cool, some trucks work hard, but once in a while you get a truck that does both and still somehow stays weird. That's the story of the Scout 2 Terra, built by International Harvester. This pickup came out in the year 1976 and stayed in production until 1980. But don't feel bad if you've never heard of it. Not many people have. Now, here's something strange. International Harvester wasn't even a regular car company. They were better known for building farm tractors and big trucks. So, when they made a pickup like the Terra, it felt like a farmer decided to build his own sporty ride. Let's talk about the size. The Terra was longer than the regular Scout 2. It had a 118-inch wheelbase, which was pretty big for a truck like this, but it didn't look like other pickups. The cab and bed were one solid piece, kind of like a car with a backpack. Next cool thing, the Terra came with different engines, but the weirdest one was a tiny 4-cylinder called the Comanche. It was actually made by cutting one of their big V8s in half. That's just funny. It made 86 horsepower, which wasn't much, but it had a lot of torque to pull stuff around. Moving right along, no one really knows the exact number of Terra trucks that were built, but we do know that all Scouts together sold about 44,000 units in 1979. Then sales dropped hard, down to around 13,000 in 1980. So, it's safe to say the Terra was built in small numbers. Today, finding one that hasn't rusted away is super rare. These trucks were built tough, but northern winters and road salt didn't treat them kindly. Still, the Scout Terra has fans who love its off-road power and old-school charm. If you ever spot one in the wild, you'll know. That long bed, wide stance, and funky name make it stand out. The Scout 2 Terra was a pickup like no other. Strange? Yes, but it's also kind of awesome. Number 4, Chevrolet LUV, 1972. The 1972 Chevrolet LUV is one of those pickups that's both strange and charming. This little truck was a big deal back in the 1970s, even though not many people know about it today. The LUV, which stands for Light Utility Vehicle, was a compact truck made by Chevrolet. But here's the twist. It was built in Japan by a company called Isuzu. Chevrolet sold it in North America, and it became a game changer for small trucks. In the year 1972, Chevrolet sold a total of 21,098 LUV pickups. It was tiny compared to other trucks, but that was the point. The LUV was made for people who needed something small and easy to drive, but still wanted to haul stuff. Its design was simple, with a boxy shape and a basic look that made it perfect for working. The LUV didn't have a lot of fancy features, but it didn't need them. It was built to get the job done. Under the hood, the LUV wasn't super powerful. It had a 110 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine, which was enough for light work. It wasn't fast, but it was reliable and easy on gas, which was important back in the days of the oil crisis. This little truck handled well on the road and was known for being easy to park and drive around cities. The Love didn't need a lot of maintenance either, which made it a popular choice for small businesses. What makes the Love even more interesting is how it helped start the trend of small trucks in the United States. Before the Love, most pickups were huge and used mostly for heavy-duty work. The Love was one of the first trucks that showed that small and practical could also be cool. Today, finding a 1972 Chevrolet LUV in good condition is rare, making it a fun find for collectors. It's a weird little truck with a lot of history, and it's definitely one of the coolest pickups from the 1970s you probably never knew about. Number 3, 1975 AMC Matador Coupe. The 1975 AMC Matador Coupe was definitely one of the strangest and rarest pickups of the 70s. This car, although not technically a pickup, had features that made it stand out as a weird and unique vehicle. It was produced in limited numbers, with less than 100,000 units sold between the years of 1974 and 1978. What made the Matador so special was its design. With a sleek fastback style and a distinct look, it was a departure from the usual boxy pickups of its time. This coupe featured afterburner taillights and flag-shaped rear quarter windows, which gave it a futuristic appearance. The Matador was a product of American Motors, a company known for being different. While most trucks were focused on heavy-duty work, the Matador was more of a personal vehicle. It had a smooth ride, an optional V8 engine, and a stylish interior that made it feel more like a luxury car than a typical truck. Despite its cool features, it never became as popular as other trucks of the era. In fact, its production numbers were low, making it one of the rarest vehicles of the time. What made the Matador even weirder was how it looked. Some people loved its unique design, while others couldn't understand why anyone would buy such an odd-looking car. Its bold style, combined with its limited production, made it a rare marvel that collectors still search for today. The fact that it was made by American Motors, a company that didn't have the same fame as the big automakers, added to its mystique. Though it wasn't widely known or loved by everyone, the 1975 AMC Matador Coupe holds a special place in automotive history. Its rarity and distinct look make it a perfect example of how sometimes the weirdest cars are the ones that become the most memorable. Number 2, GMC Gentleman Jim, 1975. The 1975 GMC Gentleman Jim is one of the rarest and most interesting pickups from the 70s that you may have never heard of. Unlike regular trucks, this one was designed to be a luxurious option for those who wanted something a little fancier. Finished in a stunning black and gold color combination, it stood out with its distinctive look. Only 2,500 units were made, making it a true collector's item today. What makes the Gentleman Jim so special is the attention to luxury. For starters, it came with a custom interior, featuring wood grain accents, vinyl bucket seats, and matching door panels. The seats were made from a combination of tweed and saddle vinyl, giving it a stylish and unique touch. Inside, you would also find storage pouches that match the seats, something you don't usually see in regular trucks. The GMC Gentleman Jim also had features that made it different from ordinary pickups. It came equipped with air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, and even an AM/FM stereo radio with an 8-track tape player. You could also find Series 95 Cibi halogen headlights, making it stand out when driving at night. This was not your average work truck. On the outside, the Gentleman Jim had a color-keyed grille that matched the rest of the black and gold exterior. It also had upper and lower body moldings, which made the truck look even more upscale. Unlike other trucks, this one was only available with the most powerful V8 engine, making it not only stylish but also strong. With only limited production, this truck was a rare sight on the road, and it was made for people who wanted more than just a regular pickup. It was a pickup with luxury, style, and power, making it one of the most unique trucks of the 70s. Number 1, Chevy Spirit of 76 Edition, 1976. The 1976 Chevy Spirit of 76 Edition is one of the rarest and most unusual trucks from the 70s. With only 500 units made, this limited edition pickup was a special tribute to America's bicentennial. It wasn't just any truck, though. It had a unique style that made it stand out. Most of these trucks were finished in a striking white and blue color scheme, but there were also some in light blue with patriotic red, white, and blue stripes running along the side. It was clear from the moment you saw it that this was a truck designed to celebrate America's independence. The real standout features of the Chevy Spirit of '76 edition were found inside. The seats were covered in vinyl that combined red, white, and blue, giving the interior a patriotic flair. On top of that, each truck had special Spirit of '76 emblems on the door panels. This wasn't just a regular Chevy pickup. It was a true symbol of American pride. Inside, you could feel the spirit of the celebration, as the truck was designed to make a statement. Under the hood, the Chevy Spirit of '76 edition was no slouch. It came equipped with a 350 cubic inch V8 engine and could be paired with either a manual or automatic transmission. This truck wasn't just about looks. It had the power to back up its bold appearance. It was made for people who wanted a combination of style and performance. When it came to features, the Spirit of '76 edition had a few extra touches that made it special. It was available with both the Scottsdale and Bonanza packages, offering some extra luxury compared to the regular models. These packages included things like better upholstery, extra chrome accents, and other small but important details that gave the truck an upscale feel. The 1976 Chevy Spirit of '76 edition stands out as one of the weirdest and most unique pickups from the '70s. With only limited numbers ever made, it's a rare sight today. Its bold color scheme, special interior features, and powerful engine make it a true American classic. If you ever come across one, consider yourself lucky. It's a piece of history you won't find just anywhere. If you enjoyed watching these rare and weird 1970s pickups, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more unique car stories. Have any of these trucks surprised you? Or do you know about another weirdest pickup from that era? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you.